Ready? Remember those two things now. That started blowing too.
Don't let nobody come knock on that door.
Oh, Jesus. I'm gonna put a sign on the door.
Neatness, a slob.
Wow.
You know, that can be a problem in the marriage.
Amen.
Since you really got to deal with this person every day. And for the slob, neatness can be a problem.
Uh-huh.
And then with the neatness, slob, a person that being a slob can be a problem. So really, actually, you got to really come together and talk about this thing and see what you can do as far as coming together and see how you can work it out. Neatness versus a person being a slob, or a slob versus a person being neat. And the next one is orderly and clutter.
Mm-hmm.
Orderly and clutter. I know that you have been around people who is very orderly. They like things to be in order.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are some folks can get work done. They can get it done in clutter. They even in the clutter, they know where their stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore they can work their own strategies. You can't work their strategy, but they can work their own strategy. So being orderly and someone being a clutter type person. And Pastor Butterfield talks about it in his book, that these are things that people have grew up with. They are traits. They have learned these habits and these types of behaviors. And so however way a person is, that is the way they think it should be.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to really get to know and understand each other. If a person they love clutter, they don't mind clutter, then that's where they are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're an orderly person, that's where you are. So each person has got to try to understand the other. All right,
Mm-hmm.
as you try to understand your own self.
That's right.
And the next is promiscuous and monogamous. And let me tell you, promiscuous is having many sex partners, and monogamous is having only one sex partner, your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And so these two, it really can be a problem if you have someone and you're married to someone and they're promiscuous.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't want your spouse out having sex with other people. And if you're promiscuous, you may be having sex with more than one other person outside of your marriage. But you got to know that is not the way the Lord has said that we should do it. He said that we should have only one spouse and be having sex with only one person, and that is your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that is the word. So we have to stand on the word and know what the word is saying. And we have to make sure that we are communicating with our spouse so they will also understand where you are. Each person can begin to understand each other. Even the monogamous person can begin to understand the promiscuous person through the eyes of their love for one another. But the key is that because if a person, the only thing they have been seeing is they great granddaddy, they granddaddy, their daddy, their mother, everybody that they just about know in their family was promiscuous. That's what they have learned. This is a learned behavior. They have learned that, and so really, actually, they kind of think it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got the monogamous person that know that is not okay. They want to go by the word of God, number one, and through what they have seen in their families is mom and daddy marrying, and and it's just them. And even if something did go on in a relationship with their mother and father, they knew and taught them the right thing, that it should not be other people in your relationship. It should just be the husband and wife that's coming together as one. So it is very important that we begin to understand all of these things. And for those of you that is not married yet, these are some of the things that you should talk about and really get to know the person that you are dealing with. And Pastor Butterfield had mentioned to us that we should not talk about some of these things with people casually. It need to be people that is engaged. They don't put a ring on the finger. That they mean business. That's right. You don't give everybody all of your business. Right. You do not tell people all of your business. Right. You got to make sure that they understand where you are, and not being able. You don't have to be sharing everything with that person until you know that they are committed to marriage, even if maybe it don't work. But the thing is that is the decision that you have made, that you're going to get married. Okay.
With the promiscuous person, because it's a habit, and habit of things you do without even thinking about it. You just do them because it's what you do. And so even though they found somebody that they love and they want to get married to them, but because that habit has not been broken, you find some people get married and in love with that person, and after that euphoria have died off, that habit kicked back in, and before you know it, they start cheating. And it ain't their intention to do that, but because of this habit they have, they're falling back into it. And so, like they say, it takes 21 days to do the opposite thing to break a habit. So you have to have an intention on breaking that habit and recognizing that it's a bad habit. Right. Some habits are good. Right. Being monogamous is a good habit to a married person. Right. And so we're saying that these habits are all not bad. Right. And so being monogamous is a habit that person say, oh, I'm not going to be sleeping around. I'm not going to be doing that. And they're just not going to do that. And sometimes it's because of what they're seeing through the years happen to their mama, their daddy, their cousins, their aunties. And say, well, they make up their mind, that's not going to be me. So they develop a habit of being monogamous. And so the same way how somebody could be promiscuous is, the men in my family, that's what we do. You ain't a man unless you have 5 or 15 women, and so we got to change these habits to let them know, no, that's not the way to have a successful marriage. You can't do that to have an successful marriage.
Amen. Yes. And the last one is night owl. And that is, you love to stay up late, And before I got married to Pastor Butterfield, I used to stay up late at night. I would be pitter-patting around the house all in the midnight hour. Upstairs, downstairs, upstairs, downstairs. And, but lights was on everywhere. And so I thought I was really a night owl. And then I got married to him. I got, kind of settled, relaxed, comfortable and everything. And he liked to stay up late, and he liked to turn the lights down low. I mean, he'd come out of a room or come into a room, he'd turn the lights off.
Lights?
And so, lights. And so that's his word, lights. And so I began to get sleepy early. So he wasn't understanding. Now, I thought you was a night owl and you trying to go to sleep at 10. What's going on here? And so what happened is I found out, and I realized that I used to have the lights on all over the house. And that now I had gotten relaxed in the house. I'm not scared of somebody coming in the back door. Somebody still could come in the back door, but I'm not scared that somebody's coming in the back door, I'm just relaxed. I'm comfortable. So now the lights are down low, I get sleepy. But I want you to know that we stay up pretty late. We done came to a median. Sometimes we go to bed early. We be ready to go to bed early, and the change that he has made, that he go to bed early sometime, because he would always go to bed late. But we have to stay up and watch Perry Mason, which comes on at 11:30. And even though we have seen these shows 3 and 4 times, we stay up to watch Perry Mason at 11:30, and it goes off at 12:30. And after that, sometime after that, we go to bed. So we have come to a meeting. We are really satisfied kind of way that we do things as far as going to bed. We pretty even keel on that because sometimes we both would be ready to go to bed around 10. All right, so we just bless the Lord and give him glory and praise.
Amen, amen.
Yeah.
So you heard about the habits. Now let's deal with the last part of the baggage. We had the family traits, we had the beliefs, we have the habits, and now we have the last part, which is so vital to our being, which is called unresolved issues. And unresolved issues are a component of who we really are, and it's based on traumatic experience that occur through our lifetime and mostly through our formative years that we have not properly grieved and released and got them resolved, and so they become issues and they impact how we think, how we see, our perspective change. If you've been raped by a man, you look at men differently. You look at sex differently because of that traumatic experience. You look at love differently when you see your father mistreating your mama, and when you see your mama mistreating your dad. You have a different perspective on what really love looks like. And so these things changes our thinking, and they give us thinking. And so when you're hurt by somebody, as we learn in our classes that we have taken, it teaches you that hurting people hurt people. And the most hurt people is the person who is already hurt. He hurt himself. And so we got to make sure that we get these resolved issues. And some of them you might laugh at them. Some of them are really they call middle child syndrome. You can be the baby. You can form an issue with that. You can be the oldest child. You got an issue with that. You can be short in stature. They call it Napoleon syndrome. And you can be bipolar. You can be, all these things happen because of something happened during your childhood that have impacted the way you see things and the way you think about things. So we have to make sure that we check out ourselves, because sometimes we don't even realize that we do have unresolved issues, because we have suppressed them so long that we think it don't exist. And so, but when an opportunity or an event happens, it can trigger that unresolved issue, and then you can have a problem in your relationship. And you won't be able to love properly. Let's say your first love, you're feeling so much about this person. I mean, you would die for them. You would give them anything in the world. I mean, nobody on earth like them. You kiss the ground they walk on. And then all of a sudden now they quit you. They drop you like a hot cake, and now your heart is broken. But you didn't get your heart back from that person because you're still hurt. You did not grieve that loss of that relationship with that person. So now you still hurt. And sometimes when we try to medicate our own hurt, we go into another relationship they call rebounding. And so you get into a relationship because you really don't like the person you're in a relationship. Your heart is still with the other person. You no longer gonna like that person, so you're gonna hop to another person. And on and on and on. We go through relationships trying to medicate that hurt. But we have to grieve it. We have to go through the grieving process and have to understand that this thing doesn't get fixed overnight. It's not a one-time fix because it's a dramatic experience. And what happens is, and we learn in a divorce care class, that when somebody come together as husband and wife, when they consummate, they become one. And so when you separate, when you divorce, you don't just separate, you tear. And that tear, that's a wound that has to heal. And if you don't let that wound heal, it's going to be like a man who had his foot amputated and he's still walking on it, forgetting or ignoring that he has his foot is cut off. You know, and so you'll keep bruising it, and after a while, the bone is going to come through. And you're going to see some things. So it's the same way with our heart. We have to make sure that we get healed. Take some time. It's not going to take. It's not going to happen overnight. You have to take some time to get healed from that hurt, because hurt people hurt people. We don't want that for you. We want you to understand whatever unresolved issues you have. And these, again, you don't tell this to everybody. Make sure it's a person who has put a ring on your finger. Somebody that you have made a commitment that this time next year or 2 years from now, we're going to be one, we're going to be married. Then you tell that person, you find these things out for yourself first. Before you even talk to anybody. Find out what problems, why you so insecure? Why your self-esteem is so low? Why you behave the way you do? And if you go back in your childhood and all the way up, you'll be able to identify some stuff that happened in your life that made a shift in you. And so now you can go back and say, okay, how do I go and recover from that? How can I resolve that issue? Because if mama didn't treat me right because I was the oldest, mama had a lot on her hand. Mama didn't love me less because she couldn't give me the attention that I was looking for. So now you start to go back and start to understand that it wasn't about you. You know, and so this will bring healing. Now you're not upset with mama no more. You're not upset with women no more. Your daddy didn't treat you right. You're not upset with men anymore. So you're not going to be responsive to men like you were doing before. Because you know when your father do this to you or do this to your mama, you start to treat all men the same way. And so, which is not good, it's not healthy. Because God got a man just for you if you're a woman. And vice versa. And so we have to make sure that we get all of our unresolved issues resolved. So we can become the whole good person that man or that woman is looking for. And you will be able to have the marriage that God always wanted you to have. So you see insecurities come up. Why am I insecure? Why am I feeling this way? All you can go back to your life. Take a look at you, at yourself. Terry Alexander have a great book called Take a Look Inside. Look at yourself and see. Why do I respond that way? Why when somebody said a certain word to me, I just go off the handle. I get upset. Why is that? And if you go back through your life, you'll be able to identify. And when you do, go back there and forgive the person and the issue. And when you forgive, that'll free you. Oh my God, it'll free you like you won't believe. It will free you. And so you'll begin to be that person that a husband or wife is looking for. So we want you to know that unresolved issues can be good for you or bad for you, but you have to resolve those issues. Don't let them unresolved. Don't let them stay unresolved. Solve them. You have the power to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to identify them first.
Right.
So you got to know you have some. And so we hope that we can help you to start thinking about it and then start concentrating on it and then go to work at it and become that person that God wants you to be. Because I guarantee you, if you do that, you will have the marriage that God always wanted you to have. So we hope that you have learned something from this session. Mm-hmm. This baggage, who we are. It's your family traits, your beliefs, your habits, and your unresolved issues. That's who you are in a nutshell, and that is your baggage. So we hope that you've been blessed by this, and we want you to listen to some couples who have went through this class and read the book and have gleaned some things from it. And we want you to go on our website, order the book if you haven't got it yet. Because at the end of every chapter in the book, we have some discussion questions. We want you to go ahead and you answer those and email it to us at marriageutopia.gmail.com. marriageutopia@gmail.com. marriageutopia@gmail.com. Email us the answers to your questions that you have so we can help you, because we want you to definitely have marriage utopia. So until next time, be blessed.